walls and doors are very important to Rowling's world building. And if we can wrap our mind around the way that walls function as doors and doors fail to function, I think we can understand the way that Rowling's is creating the fantastic, a fantastic that we can come to the threshold of, but never quite cross. If we think about the scene where Hagrid first meets Harry Potter, and he's trying to get in the door and he can't, just as the letters from Hogwarts can't come through the mail slot because it's been stopped up. They find other access points, so Hagrid knocks down the door. A very dramatic scene, it falls down, and this is Harry's introduction to his first fantastic person. The door is not functioning the way it should, and that it has to be knocked off its hinges. Whereas the walls, the gateways into the fantastic, always function the way they should, allowing Harry Potter and the other wizards to pass through into this magical place. These walls allow the magical world to always be just out of reach. Not only for the child viewer, who may have tapped on a few brick walls in their time just to test whether or not that boundary is still held, but also for the muggles or the non-magic folk in the films, right? These walls keep the fantastic separate from everybody, and in a sense keep it fantastic because it is always just outside of our reach. But in some ways it kind of blurs the line between fantasy and reality because it raises the question of whether or not this fantastic world is fantastic at all, or just whether we are muggles who have not gained access to a different reality. Think about the way that is illustrated and viewed in the filming of Harry Potter. How much time is spent on the gateways? What kind of music, what kind of sound effects go with the transitions through these gateways? And how does that let the child viewer know that they have stepped out of reality and into an almost reality that has an addition of magic? King's Cross Station in London from 2016 is viewed right here. That is the setting for Harry Potter's trip to platform 9 3/4. So watch just the beginning of this clip and then look at this clip from Harry Potter where he's going to the 9 3/4 station. And what do the visuals do for you there? For a child in the United Kingdom, they have likely seen or been in King's Cross railway station because it's a central hub for the railway network, a wonderful railway network that really everyone uses in the UK that crisscrosses the country. And so if the child viewer has been in King's Cross railway station, what is the experience of seeing Harry Potter in that station and then not quite? How is that creating the fantastic for them? Or renegotiating the fantastic as something you can almost reach? Does it raise the question, as this meme suggests, that Harry Potter is really a biography, but it's sold as fiction to the muggles? Rowling's fiction sort of continually brings that up, and popular culture has made that even more accessible with things like the Wizarding World Hub that you see here. In fact, go to this link. Look at it, test your knowledge in quizzes, discover which Hogwarts house you would be at. How do stations like this, do websites like this, make Harry Potter and the fantastic perhaps a biography in disguise, and allow us to almost cross over that boundary and join them, thus sort of disintegrating the distinction between the fantastic and the realistic? How do the films capitalize on these boundaries? How do they build into feeding this desire to cross over to that other side? For your discussion board thread, number one, you're going to look at thresholds. You're going to share your ideas on the importance of threshold in Rowling's world making, and particularly in the film. How are these visualized? How are these felt? How would the child viewer, so tap back into that child self that you've got buried inside there, and think, how would that child viewer respond to these thresholds? I don't know if you're like me, but maybe you would have tapped on a few brick walls when you were a kid, just to make sure that this isn't a biography in disguise. And then leave some comments for a couple of your peers. I look forward to seeing what you all have to say.